Um, hey, what's going on? I wanted to talk to y'all a little bit, if that's okay. Um, I don't really know what to say here. When I was little, I had a very troubled childhood, as far back as I remember, but things were never too bad. My mom always did everything she could. She protected us and always did her best to make life good. But moving forward, way forward into my life, at 16 years old, I was a kid that was standing behind the pulpit preaching and teaching youth classes and everything. And time went forward, and not even my mom could have protected me from what happened after that. I began to experiment with drugs. Started with marijuana, drinking, everything that you could imagine, and then it graduated into cocaine, ecstasy, and later on it became methamphetamines. It started without me even knowing I was doing it. It was mixed with cocaine, and I enjoyed it. It ended up into a week-long party, along with other drugs. And then it just continued to get worse for me. It really got bad when I finally tried methamphetamines by myself for the first time. And it didn't stop after that. It was horrible. When you first do meth, you don't think you'll get addicted to it because you weren't addicted to anything else you ever did. I got news for you. You're wrong. You do meth, and it takes over. No, when I first started, I only had one kid, and then I met the mother of my youngest two. She was against methamphetamines, but I continued to do them. Like I said, it took over. It changed who I was. I remember so many things that I did. Not long into meth, I ran out of money. I took a picture. If anybody remembers me, they remember the picture I had of Tupac and Notorious B.I.G., Aaliyah, and Left Eye, a big sketched out picture. It was amazing picture. Amazing painting. I traded it for $10 worth of meth and began trading everything else I could to get high. It never stopped. Later on in the use, my remorse, my care, everything went out the window. I didn't care about anything or anybody anymore. I'd like to tell you I care about my kids, but I didn't. I loved them with everything, but I wanted to get high all the time. I mean, I was staying up for at first 2 days, then 3 days, and then eventually it became a week at a time of not sleeping, not eating. Um, I began to go back to work at a restaurant, and by this time meth had done taken over in a lot of places of that town I was in, and the restaurant seemed to be a key source for me to get it without paying, which didn't never help. After before my third child, my youngest daughter, was even born, the mother of my kids had done kicked me out because I was so far gone. I would be on the floor, digging through crumbs on the floor, yelling at her over nothing, because I was looking for meth that I may have dropped because I was out. It, so after leaving there, I ended up at my cousin's house where I thought I would get clean. But instead I just met somebody else that did meth and continued. So I went back to the town that I was in. Not long after being there, I ended up at a crack house where I stayed for a while. When I wasn't there, I was in and out of motel rooms or even sleeping at my job. The crack house is where I kind of began to realize that I wasn't really myself. All of my friends were dope addicts, were meth addicts, dope fiends, whatever you want to call them. I remember at one point, this girl had come over and told us that she wanted some meth, some drugs, and we actually tied her to a dog chain outside by the doghouse and told her to get on all fours and bark like a dog in order to get in it. That was not me. Anybody that knows me knows I do not do things like that to people, to women especially. But I didn't care at the time. I remember another time I had walked into my room at that house and there was a girl in my room on my bed crying, claiming that another guy who stayed there occasionally had raped her. And that she was already pregnant and that she thinks she might have miscarried from the rape, and I told her that I didn't care. I told her just to get out of my room and go. And you know, growing up, I was always loved, taken care of. But when you can look in your mom's eyes and, you know, you see the disappointment, you know that she knows what's going on. She knew that no matter what she did, there was no stopping me. I got to the point where I didn't even believe in God, that I followed Wicca, to be honest. Tarot cards, Ouija boards, things like that, and it got to the point where I was getting good at them, which is the scariest part. But you know what amazes me all this time? Still, you know, this is 2.5 years into doing it. All my friends were going to jail, their houses were getting busted, they were getting pulled over. But never me. I was searched on the side of the road with 1.5 ounces of methamphetamines and about $20 worth of weed, and never seemed to get noticed. So God was always watching out. I just never noticed him. But what hurt the most was, I was watching other people care for my kids, and it wasn't me doing it. I was kicked out of the hospital the time after my daughter was born, about 2 days, because I was messed up on K2, and it was bad, and it hurt. I didn't even get to see my baby girl come home. And I know y'all probably don't know what that's like, but that hurts a lot. I know you guys really can't see me that well, but yeah, I have tears in my eyes right now. Hold on. As time progressed with the meth, it got to the point where I didn't care about anything anymore. I was paranoid. I was working 3 and 4 days straight without even saying anything because I was high. Wasn't seeing my kids, wasn't calling to check on them. I got involved with the top dogs of some gangs and thought I was Mr. Big Shot. Women, money, hanging out with them. You thought you had everything. I had nothing, really. Tons of so-called, friends. They weren't really my friends. It got to where they were giving me meth and telling me to pay them back later, and I never did, and I began to get myself into some trouble with them. A lot of trouble. Let's just say the things that they did for me other than meth, and I never paid them back for it. I should be dead. I should not be even here talking to you right now. I'm not going to go into details, but I became more and more in debt, and things began to get posted on my Facebook. At this time, I was sleeping in a car with the girl that I was with at the time. Most of my stuff had been stolen. I didn't have no money, no job. It was cold outside. This was January. Not long after my birthday. About 2 years ago. And I was out of dope. None of my so-called friends were willing to help me. My mom wanted to so bad, but she didn't know what was really going on. I don't know, I could have told her, but I didn't. My sister ended up letting me stay at her house for the night, and my uncle messaged me and asked me if I was in trouble. I wanted to tell him no, that I was fine, but I told him the truth. And he said he was coming to get me, and I told him I didn't want to go without that girl, and they agreed just to get me out of there. So he came. He basically really didn't leave me much of a choice. He got me in the truck. When he got there, we went to go get the rest of our stuff out of the car that we were sleeping in, only to find out the car had been broken into, and everything was gone. sorry. This is difficult, but it's things that I need to say. I need to get off my chest. It was everything was gone, so we went and we stayed. The girl that I was with ended up stealing from my aunt and uncle. Things got heated, and we ended up leaving her about 15-20 miles outside of the town that we were originally staying. I chose to go back with my aunt and uncle and stay clean. A couple of months after this, I ended up coming back to that town, and I stayed clean, and it was hard. When you go from your breakfast being methamphetamines and ecstasy and weed and alcohol every day to actually eating, things get difficult. Now, normally when people get off hard drugs such as meth, they become sick. Never happened. Yeah, I went to sleep and woke up as if I had never had been up that long or was even addicted to it. I decided to talk to God again and figure out what was going on. That night at my uncle's house, I opened up a Bible, and surprisingly it opened up to my favorite verse, which is Psalms 107, 4-8. And if you don't know what it says, for some had wandered into a desert wasteland, finding no way to a city where they could settle, and they were hungry and thirsty, and their lives were at the way. And they cried out to the Lord in their troubles, and He delivered them from their despair, and led them by a straight way to a city where they could settle. And I realized that I had wandered into a wasteland with nowhere to go, and had been led to where I could lay my head and eat and drink and rest. And it was, I forgot the rest of that verse. It says, "Let us give thanks to the Lord for His unfailing love and His wonderful deeds to all men." Amen. But anyways, God had led me to a straight way, and He came to me in a dream that night and told me, you need to believe in me. I delivered you from this. I was scared. The things that I had done on meth, I didn't mention everything. I just mentioned a couple of the bad things. Things that in my heart made me pure evil. What you define as pure evil may be different, but to me that was evil. But anyways, I went back to that town, and I stayed clean. It'll be 2 years really, really soon. Just in a couple of days, actually. And I don't know. It's by the grace of God that I'm still here, that I'm still breathing. When I went back to that town, I ran into the people I owed money to. It seemed like they didn't even notice me, as if all my debt was erased. So, they say whether you just accept Christ or you rededicate your life to Christ, your slate's wiped clean. Well, my slate was. It was wiped clean one more time. And it's been a struggle. There are times that I still want to get high, but my soul even tells me not to. I'm still paying for it to this day, though. Right now I'm fighting for my kids. It's been over a year that I've been doing that. And I'm praying that if God's will, they will come home to me. Because now I'm ready to be their dad. I'm clean. And I'm ready to do what's right by them and by me. Anyways, guys, I wrote all this to get these things off my chest and to tell y'all that if God can bring me out of that easy and erase all that debt like it never happened, I mean, over thousands of dollars worth, He can save you too. He can help you. Well, thank you guys for listening. I love y'all. God bless. Amen.